Hello, Pisces. Thank you so much for being here, you guys, and happy birthday to you. All right, Pisces, so clearly here, there's something that keeps coming back up that you can't lay to rest. So from Shadows and Light, you pulled Shallow Grave. You missed someone. And then from E, you pulled At Your Service. So basically what it's saying is that once you give it up to the dude or the universe, your angels, God, whatever, it's going to make it easier for you to lay to rest something that is over with. But I wonder about that though too, because, it may not be your fault that something can't be put to rest, right? Like if you're missing someone, it may be coming back up again and it may not be your fault. It's not like you're going back and being nostalgic. Now, for some of you, absolutely could be. And there's a need to just kind of give it up now so that you can finally, get rid of this and move on. But like I said, I don't know, for some of you, I feel like this is coming back up for a reason. All right, Pisces, here we go. Here's your overall for the week. Oh boy. All right. I get both on this because I'm looking back at last week and, I felt like there was emotional detachment because your best path to follow then was the Knight of Cups, which I felt like is a part of you that's being suppressed. So now with the King of Swords, right, we could definitely be talking about an air sign. Some of you may be focused on this person. They may be coming back up. And I say that because of Shallow Grave. But again, like for some of you, if you have a person coming back up, you may be like trying to look at it from a logical standpoint rather than being emotionally involved, and I feel like there's a struggle on this though. It would have been different had it been any other king, but what I don't like is, first of all, we're talking about Pisces. Now, being emotional, if you're dealing with somebody who's detached, then there may be a lot of difficulty on like getting past that, especially if you're like trying to make a connection with somebody. But we'll see. Oh boy. In the past, the Queen of Cups, oh my goodness. For you, I think that, and again, like I'm going back to Shallow Grave and feeling like there's an inability to just kind of like move on from it. Because when I see the Queen of Cups, I immediately think that somebody is emotionally attached. There is involvement there. The King of Cups is a little bit different. Like he takes an emotional distance. There's wisdom there. He understands that getting too wrapped up in other people's feelings can be detrimental. She doesn't. She gets full on involved. Now, if we're talking about you, definitely there is an emotional attachment to somebody who may not be like giving that back, or you may not know how they feel. One of the things that I say too when it comes to the King of Swords, like it's not that all air signs don't have emotions. Now, we could definitely be saying here that right now, especially if you have air in your chart, that you're looking at things from a logical standpoint where before you were emotionally invested. But I still feel like we're dealing with a person that's coming through. You may be talking about somebody from the past. You got air and water going on. But the connection is like, it's difficult. Oh boy. All right. Oh shit. And I had a feeling like I needed to take a deep breath. The Five of Cups in the present. Oh boy. And I'm waiting to see what's going on in the environment, but immediately if we're looking at, you being like emotionally invested in someone who isn't like giving that same emotion back, like I can understand why the Five of Cups is there. The other thing though too is if you have something coming back up or somebody coming back through, it may be that there's still disappointment over the fact that things were like lost, because there's always that message there that there's too much focus on what's been lost, right? The Three Cups that are spilled, but you still have the two to build on, But like I can understand, like for some of you, it simply can just be that you're going to be emotionally disappointed by somebody who is not giving you back the same type of emotion that you're putting through to it. future conditions. Now, and again, like with the King of Swords being the overall here, we can definitely be talking about with the Seven of Pentacles, you looking at things a little bit differently and maybe not looking at it so emotionally anymore. But then with the Seven of Pentacles, I always feel like, well, are you really seeing what you want? Is it worth your time and effort? I don't know. Like, and with the Queen of Cups being the past coming through and this being the central focus now, like, I still get the feeling that something is coming back up. And I go back to, that feeling of this may not be your fault, that there's an inability to get past something that should have been, laid to rest a long time ago. But with the Seven of Pentacles, you could be reevaluating it, especially when it comes to difficult emotions surrounding a person or a situation. But I don't know, like I feel iffy on that, because with the Seven of Pentacles, for me, I always look at the person and think, okay, if you're reaping the benefits of your hard work and effort, are you actually seeing what you want to see? Or you could just simply, like I said, be reevaluating a person or the way that you feel. Oh boy. Oh yeah? Your best path to follow, the Ace of Cups. Yeah, I would say that for some of you, you may be looking at it as like, straightforward, like, it is what it is almost. And like detaching yourself from it right now. With the Ace of Cups being your best path to follow, yeah, you're talking about a new emotionally fulfilling beginning. And again, I mean, this doesn't have to be a relationship, but I mean, I'm looking at this going, this is the issue right now. There's hurt emotions in the present moment, but I'm still like waiting to see here. But, this could definitely be an opportunity for a new beginning with a person though. But like the connection just like can't be made. And it may be because you're not speaking or they're not. But there's still emotional attachment that's still coming through. That's an issue. But we're still looking at difficulty here. Oh, shit. Okay. Now, and again, I go back to the Seven of Pentacles. If you're looking at a person coming through here where there's difficult emotions surrounding it, and again, like this doesn't have to be romantic, but I don't know. I feel like a relationship. I feel like this is something that, you may have been with for quite some time, that you have like tried to, again, put to rest. Like, you need to just like put it to rest, but I don't think it's your fault that it's coming back up. There are difficult emotions surrounding this, but you're trying to figure it out with the Two of Pentacles. Because with the Seven, like I see it like this. So you have the hurt emotions surrounding a situation. There's still emotional involvement. Somebody is being detached and not really speaking about how they feel or looking at it from a logical sense, where somebody else may be emotionally involved, but you're looking at it differently, you or them. And there's like trying to figure it out. Like, I feel like you're trying to figure it out here, especially if this is a real possibility. Do you open up to a new beginning? Is it worth your time and effort, or do you stay in the emotional suffering from the past? And then not only that, but you may have an expectation surrounding this, and there may be some disappointment. That or it's you're trying to get past this, because they still see you like looking at it differently. But it's not in like the hangman type style. Wow. Pisces, all right. Okay, your hopes and your fears, the Ace of Swords. So here's what I'm going to say about this, because this was the initial feeling I was getting off of this in the first place. I think what is happening here is that there may be some expectation toward possibly, a new start, a new connection. But with the Ace of Swords being hopes and fears, it's either you hoping that you'll be able to speak your truth, or that somebody else is going to do it. It's like you may be waiting for somebody to say something, and that's where the disappointment is coming through, because they're not. On an emotional level, they're not. But there's still emotional attachment. So it's like, what the hell? Why aren't you just saying it? Or like, why aren't they just saying it? It's like, I kind of feel like you're on the same page, but you're not as far as communication goes. You may be seeing this person as like looking at everything from a logical standpoint, like where the hell are the emotions at, because I'm feeling it, right? Like, you may be really feeling it right now and feeling that there is a real chance here to have like this brand new start, but nobody's communicating shit. Not with this being in the present moment, because you wouldn't be disappointed if somebody was speaking the truth. And you may be the one that needs to speak up and say something to someone, whether it's about the fact that you're disappointed in them or you have some hurt feelings, or that you're disappointed in the fact that, you know, they're not communicating the way that they feel, especially if I'm telling you, there's a real opportunity here for there to be happiness between you and another person. Like I said, it doesn't have to be a relationship, but like I'm getting that from this for some of you. But wow, all right. And then coming out, okay, the Six of Swords. Now, you know, it may be that there are difficulties that need to be moved away from, and it's like you're trying to do that because you're trying to see it differently or see somebody else differently. But it's like nothing is really happening here. This is still here. This is still very much a real possibility. And as far as your advice goes, you need to make the most of this. But if nobody is communicating how they feel, then, you know, shit's not happening. And you're still in like trying to figure it out, like trying to figure out how you feel, what you need to say, or trying to figure out what the hell is going on with somebody else because they may not be like fully communicating their own emotions. And then the Nine of Wands. Okay, so here's what I'm going to say. Because we're looking at the Six of Swords here, you know, if there are difficult emotions surrounding, you know, involvement with a person here, the Star to me suggests that there's a reason to hope. And there's the real potential here for some healing once we get away from the difficult emotions and start to see things differently. The Three of Cups, you know, I don't so much feel like this is going to have to do with people who are meddling. I feel more so like this may be a connection as far as a friendship, like coming back together, you know, maybe reconnecting possibly through other people, like other people may be involved in this reconnection. But with the Nine of Wands, you know, it's like not wanting to let it through, not wanting to let it come in. You know, I feel more so that there's like the need to protect yourself. You know, and it's funny because one of the things that I've always said about the Nine of Wands, you know, this person is so on guard that they may miss opportunities coming through. If you don't let that down, that won't become a possibility. You know, I mean, I've always said with aces, it's great when they show up, but they don't mean shit if you're not willing to do something with it. And I don't know that you're really in a spot right now to do this. And that may be why, you know, like you're trying to figure it out because there's still a lot of difficult emotions around it. But like, I still feel like it's because somebody is not speaking up, you know, because it would have been different if you were fearing the truth and, you know, we would have said, for Christ's sakes. If you were fearing the truth, I would have expected to see like death or the Ten of Swords or like an ending here. But there's still like this need to fix something, move away from difficulties, especially emotionally. But like you're still trying to figure it out, you know? But I still go back to this. Is it worth your time and effort? You know? But this throws it all off. This to me is so telling as far as, you know, what is really going on, what the real potential is, what you really need to do to like get to a place of happiness here. Oh, Pisces. All right. Let's take a look at your love lives and see what's going on. Now, this could definitely be the other person though too that is like blocked. It may be both of you for that matter. And it's like you're both trying to move away from whatever difficulties may be stopping this from becoming a possibility, because I go back to the Star and think, yeah, there's a reason to hope. But the Three of Cups, like I feel more so that this is going to be like, you know, because you're talking about celebration with the Three of Cups. Yeah, it is a support group too. So it may be, you know, friends that may be bringing this back through. There may be the potential here to like heal a friendship yeah, definitely an opportunity for better things to happen here with the Wheel of Fortune. Okay, so now as far as singles, stay optimistic about your love life. With the Magician being there, it's like you need to have a little bit more confidence in your ability to manifest what you want when it comes to relationships, and that's basically it. You know, when it comes to your love life, it's up to you to create this. You know, but it may be hard if you've been like single for a while though, right? Because you're being asked to stay optimistic even though things may not be happening. And maybe the only way that something is going to happen is if you step up, right? And speak. Because I go back to that Ace of Swords. But definitely with the Magician, you have the ability to create what you want. Now, as far as couples go, you know, if you're in a spot where you may not be like on the same page, you know, especially with these two showing up, the Wheel of Fortune is just saying that, you know, things are going to start changing in a positive way as far as your relationship goes. But, you know, there's a need to like heal whatever is going on in a partnership, you know. But like I go back to staying optimistic, I feel like that's for both of you, you know, for singles and couples. But don't give up on your partnerships. You know, whatever difficulties you're facing with the wheel, it's going to fix itself. Like, you know, that cycle is going to come to an end and better things will happen. Like I see that more so with this one than with normal tarot. But what I will say though is, for those of you who are dealing with something that's coming back up that you've been like trying to bury, I don't see anything actually happening. I see that you're trying to. It's like you're trying to. But this here, like I said, I mean, there is a real possibility here for you to have a new start with somebody. All right, Pisces, so I do think that for some of you, there's something that needs to be laid to rest, right? But then at your service, yeah, once you give it up, it may be easier for you to, like, be done with it. But my problem with this is at your service, right? Like, if it's coming back up, it's coming back up for a reason. Like, shit happens. You know, and it may be that you just need to, like, give it up to the universe and let things just unfold. Now, the reason why I say that is because you're still trying to figure out these difficult emotions. Now, this may be you or the other person here, but there's, like, disappointment. But there's still, like, trying to work it out. Now, as far as the Seven of Pentacles goes and looking at the Six of Swords, it's like, is it worth your time and effort? But it's not going to be if somebody is not willing to move away from, you know, whatever difficult things that, you know, may be stopping this from happening. But I do think that this is either you or the other person you're dealing with. Somebody is being, like, really logical and, like, you know, not really opening up and speaking how they feel. And, you know, with the Queen of Cups coming through, again, this could be you or the other person, but there is emotional attachment here. I see that with her more so than anything. And it says a lot about what's going on here, especially with the Ace of Cups being your best path to follow. It's like a real possibility here. Now, as far as the clarifiers here, when you're looking at the star, this is something big, okay? This is something big that you may have wanted for quite some time. It's what, you know, your hopes and dreams are made of, okay? Now, with the Three of Cups, like I said, I don't feel like it's people who are meddling. I think that people are going to be responsible for this coming back up when it should have been laid to rest. But with the Nine of Wands, somebody may not be willing to put down the guard, or, you know, somebody may be being persistent on this though too. Because I still look at you, like, looking at it like, is it worth your time and effort? Is it going to produce something that you actually want? Because with the star being there, you know, there's a reason to hope, and this is big for some of you. Now, the best thing that I can say on this is don't wait for somebody else to say something, okay? You're going to have to just, like, take a chance here, say what you need to say, especially when it comes to hurt emotions, so that it can get figured out and you're not, like, trying to, like, balance new emotions that may be coming through with the Ace of Cups, right? With the Queen of Cups having that emotional attachment, but then, like, still being disappointed. You know, you need to speak up about that. But, like, I still feel like somebody's got to move away from something. Now, As far as relationships go, I mean, yeah, for singles, right, stay optimistic, and the Magician, you need to have confidence in your ability to create what you want in a relationship, because you can do this, right? But if you've been single for a while, I go back to the star and think that there's a reason to hope, but, I've always said, like with aces, right, it's great and all if they show up, but it doesn't mean a fucking thing if nobody is willing to do anything about it. And with the Magician showing up for you, if you do have somebody coming through, whether they're from your past or not, you're probably going to have to be the one here to, like, say something. Somebody has to. Because I look at this more so as a block in communication. And there may be disappointment as far as that, or there needs to be the communication of emotions. Now, for those of you who are in a relationship, I'm telling you, it's going to be one of them weeks. Give your relationship a chance, and then looking at the Wheel of Fortune. So, if you're dealing with difficulties in a relationship, that cycle is going to come to an end. And better things will happen. Absolutely. And then for those of you who are looking at just starting a new relationship, it's like, if you've done this before, because of the reading, it's saying with the Wheel of Fortune that, maybe this is a better chance, especially with the Ace of Cups being there. But like I said, Pisces, I don't think that this is your fault, that this is coming back up. But I do think that no matter what happens, somebody needs to say something about the way that they feel.